Welcome back to ChinaX, Part 2, The Creation and End of a Centralized Empire. Peter, when we last met, the Chinese world seemed to be both thriving and falling apart at the same time. 100 schools of thought, many of which are still read today, and states warring one with another. Right. One could imagine China existing for a very long time, or this place that we now call China, as a series of quite small, disputatious political entities. But that's not how it turned out. What happened?
So the simple answer is they created a centralized bureaucratic empire in an interesting way, and that's what we want to talk about here. We have the Qin Dynasty coming out of the West, conquering all the other states and making everybody conform to this new system of government. No longer this confederation of feudal aristocrats, but a centralized government which sends its officials to govern the land, to take taxes, to guide the military, and so on. The Qin doesn't last very long. The Han Dynasty, which lasts for 400 years, is the one that really shows that you can make centralized empire work. It has new institutions. It figures out institutional arrangements that sort of keep things in balance. It goes through a series of modes of figuring out how state should relate to society or government should relate to the economy. And that really becomes the model for much of Chinese history hereafter. Now, the interesting thing for people who know a lot about contemporary China is that this period, particularly the Qin, turns out to be very important to the founding of the People's Republic too.
The Qin Emperor, Qin Shi Huangdi, the first emperor, the self-styled first emperor, was famous for not only unifying, but also for suppressing disputatious scholars, burning the books and burying the scholars alive. And in this capacity, but also in his centralizing energy, Mao Zedong compared himself to Qin Shi Huang as a person who took over from a period of warring states, period in which warlords and foreign invasion had dominated, in his view, the Chinese political scene, and brought to China a level of unity that it had not seen, arguably, in centuries. On April 5th, 1976, there was a demonstration in Tiananmen Square in support of the memory of the now deceased Premier Zhou Enlai, in support probably of the political aspirations of the soon-to-be purged Deng Xiaoping, in which people held high banners saying, "Down with Qin Shi Huang." Qin Shi Huang had been dead a long time,
2,000
but
years,
Mao Zedong was still alive, and this equation of two brutal and brutalizing and yet in many ways effective founders, this connection was made well into the 20th century.
Now, you know, we're going to talk about how this was accomplished in the 2nd and 1st century BC, going on into the 2 centuries AD. But the fact of the matter is the Han eventually falls apart. And there are different ways of looking at that. Let me give you an example of one way of thinking about that, because, you know, we'll be talking about aristocratic culture and a new aristocracy that appears, and we'll be talking about Buddhism, a new religion. And, you know, if you think about, for people coming out of Mediterranean civilization, the Roman Empire, and the way in which when the Roman Empire falls apart to foreign invasion, which happens in the Chinese case too, it opens the way to a new aristocracy and also to a new religion. In the West, it was Christianity. That seems to very, very much a parallel. But I think there are also ways in which we can see parallels to the modern age as well.
Well, today the fastest growing religion in China is?
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. Some people say it's Buddhism, some people say it's Christianity, but
what
it's
it is,
religion.
It's religion for sure. Buddhism almost surely, certainly in terms of numbers of people who are now declaring themselves perhaps once again to be Buddhists, and the numbers who believe in what one might call the founding ideology of the People's Republic, Marxism, Leninism, Mao Zedong, those who know, study, and truly believe in it are few indeed.
Yeah. You know, one of the questions that I will have for you as we go on into this part of the course is the way in which the relationship between government and society changes over time. It changed in the Han Dynasty through various modes, and it seems to me that there have been tremendous changes today as well. And when we come back in our office hours, one of the things we want to do is give you a chance to think about some of the things we can learn from this period of the first centralized empire and its demise, and how they bear on later Chinese history. In any case, welcome to part 2 of ChinaX, the creation and end of centralized empire.